Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So because I've lived in New York for 3 years and I've gone through a fuck ton, I thought it would be fun to make a video about all of the good things about living in New York and all of the bad things about living in New York. Many advantages and disadvantages to the most chaotic city in the entire fucking world. So yeah, New York is
Oh, did you get tired, little baby? Are you tired of the big scary city of NYC? You think you can just leave New York? You think that everyone will be waiting for you a month later when you get back and they're all just gonna be happy to see you and they're gonna throw you a big party? You're just a worthless little piece of shit now that you're not in Brooklyn. No one's even gonna remember your name. And you're just gonna rot away in Medford and you're never gonna have fun again a day in your life.
Okay, you got me. I'm actually not in New York right now. I got overwhelmed and I left. Fun fact, it's actually considered a federal crime in the state of New York to live there and then move back to your parents' house in the suburbs. If you see this and you're watching this, like, don't let them know where I am. They'll never find me. Yes, I am in Boston, Massachusetts right now. And yeah, like, I don't technically have my own apartment in New York City. Like, I was just looking at apartments in Bushwick and Williamsburg, and nothing was like sparking excitement. Because when you've lived in New York for 3 years, honestly, this place starts to seem small. And then I thought to myself, I don't have a job. I'm living on unemployment as I should. Why the fuck not just take a little break? And now that I'm out and I'm not on the crazy crystal that fucks with your mind that is Manhattan, I think I have kind of a clear perspective on the city in general. You know, they say New York is fun hell. Am I ready for boring heaven? Okay, so let's talk about why I moved to New York in the first place. And I don't have the same story that I think most people, since the time they're kids, they like watch Sex and the City and they're like, I'm Carrie. I didn't really feel like my life is only gonna be worthwhile and interesting if I live in New York, or like I didn't feel super called to move there. I very heavily vibe with being a big fish in a small pond. Don't underestimate that, dude. I went to school in North Carolina, this literal 400 student school. I was like the coolest bitch in town there. But when I was 20, I decided I wanted to go to fashion school. I don't want to be a fucking therapist. I don't want to keep doing the psychology degree that I'm doing. Oh, where do you go to fashion school? Oh, you have to go to fashion school in New York. Also, studying fashion, why did I want to do that? Okay, so my initial experience living in New York was literally awful. Walking down the streets, all I could think was like, that person's cooler than me, that person's hotter than me. I honestly have this theory that in New York, you need to be completely crumpled and built down to be reincarnated as the New York version of yourself. Because you're gonna go through hell. They don't tell you this. It's impossible to have the same view of yourself that you did when you were around average Joes. But when everyone is a fucking model fashion person, and I guess I would describe this as like an ego death of some sorts. Everything you thought you knew about yourself, you realized was based on the people around you and how they viewed you. And now when you're not really special anymore, who even are you? Tricky, tricky, darling. The good, the bad, the ugly. New York City. Does it suck or is it the fucking bomb? Jumping right into the pros, because we should always start off on a positive note. My absolute favorite thing about the city is that you go through stages of life much quicker and like learn your lessons as a human being, as though you're on some sort of conveyor belt that's just throwing constant tests and obstacles at you until you figure out how to deal with it and figure out how to be the beautiful person that you were born to be. For example, one of the biggest things that I struggle with is being easily manipulated, letting people take advantage of me, just like obsessively giving into the desires and needs of others. And the universe helped me get out of this by giving me psychotic roommates. I don't want to get into the gory details of these stories, but I will say that I don't think I would have learned this lesson nearly as fast if it hadn't been again and again. These people coming into my life, almost destroying my life, dare I say, and then me having to figure out how to stand up for myself and create those boundaries in that space. Oh, it was terrible experiencing it so many times in a row. Just 3 roommates in a row that I was like really? You're insane too? Oh, you're insane? Like, what are the fucking odds that they're all gonna be crazy? Another obvious attraction, positive aspect of New York City, it's like being on an infinite adrenaline high. In my prime, back in my day, I would go out every single night. When I was 22, woo, oh my god. Every night it was Carmelo's in Bushwick, it was the Box in Manhattan, it was someone's parents' loft apartment in Dumbo. Like every night me and my friends would just be like, what's the plan tonight? Who's going to blah, blah, blah? And it's hard to live without that when you're used to a life filled with topsy-turvy turns around every corner. Piggybacking off that point, snowball affecting into the next point, New York's just full of sexy bitches. I don't know. I'm at the point where I feel like New York is the only place where I'm capable of even meeting people. Like for example, I'm in Boston right now. I can't even imagine opening up the Hinge app, scrolling through and finding someone that is a viable option for myself. When you leave New York, it's like a time of rest. I'm sure there's people here, and I'm definitely positive it's a mental block that I have. What else? What do we like about NYC? On the notion of people, it's way easier to make connections and propel your life forward. I've worked 3 restaurant jobs, 1 retail job, and I've had 2 internships over my 3 years in New York. It all led me into the next thing. My first retail job was from someone I met at a class at FIT, got me a job at Aritzia. And then someone that I met at Aritzia got me an internship with the designer at Batsheva. Why did it automatically stop? What the fuck? And like a friend of mine who I had known for a week got me my most recent job at Barrio Chino restaurant in Manhattan, which I am currently on indefinite leave from. A lot of things don't lead to anything though when it comes to connections. People are all talk out here in this town. But to be fair, my time living in Boston, no one ever came to me with an exciting career prospect. That's just not a thing. And it is most definitely a thing in New York, greatest city in the world. People will want to help you with your dreams. Final New York perk, it has to be said, there is way more queer people that live in New York. I will say New York, specifically Brooklyn, is the only place where people don't assume other people are straight. And it's also more normal to not assume people's pronouns. I hate it when people just come up to me and they're like, do you have a boyfriend? And in New York, people will commonly ask me, oh, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Which is like sweet, like I appreciate the gesture. And now is the moment you have all been waiting for. The reasons why I feel like I simply can't be there right now, and I'm not exactly sure when I will wish to return. Cons. This has been a consistent thing that has always pissed me off. There is like an infinite amount of possibilities in New York. And as human beings, one of our many flaws, we've got a lot of issues, is that we are stunted by too many possible things. We need like 3 choices. It's just stressful when you could have anything. It makes you not pursue anything. Did I say anything twice? Next point. This one may be kind of hard for a lot of you Bushwick baddies to hear. But that crazy phenomenon that you experienced in your hometown, wherever the fuck you're from, where you felt like all the basic biddies dressed the exact same, pissed me off in high school, and I was like, I'm different. I don't shop at Pink or Hollister. I shop at Urban Outfitters. I'm unique. I go thrifting. I'm unique. Well, newsflash, honey. Everyone still dresses the same in New York. They just dress the same in a different way that may appear cool to you. And you may think, I'm different. I wear baggy jeans. I don't wear skinny jeans. So many times, me and my friends will meet up to hang out. We'll be in the exact same outfit. Conformity exists no matter where you are. If you walk down Wyckoff Avenue by the Jefferson L train stop, I assure you, you will look like a freak if you don't look like a freak, if you know what I mean. Funny story. When I was working at Barrio one night, my restaurant, my childhood best friend, who I hadn't seen since I was 8 years old and like left my first hometown, shows up with 7 sorority sisters, and they're all wearing skinny jeans, heeled black boots, and like a Zara leather jacket. And I just thought it was the funniest shit in the entire world. I was like, oh my god, they're such clones. Posers, like, why are they even doing in New York City? I'm telling the story to my older sister and she just starts laughing. What is it? Like, what's so funny? She's like, you do realize that you and your friends just wear baggy denim with a little cut wife beater every fucking day, right? Ugh, that was hard to hear. I'm convinced that the only way to actually have good style is to go shopping in Bushwick and then leave. Get the fuck out of there. Oh, and side note, my face is red because I'm extremely overheated in this hot, steamy bathtub, and not because I'm developing a rare skin condition from returning to the suburbs after 3 years in New York. As far as people go, the people can be amazing, but New York does tend to feel like a big game of who's cooler, who's doing more, what are you doing? As soon as you meet people, you can just tell that they're looking at you and assessing how many Instagram followers you probably have. And let's just address the elephant in the room. New York is not very cute. Some of you may come at me for this. For the most part, it is kind of gray and gross and dreary. And not to mention, I think they just stopped trying to pick up trash in New York. The last couple months I was there, any street I would walk along would just be lined with rows of garbage. There's no dumpsters. It's gross, it's out of hand, and it's making me never want to come back. Also, it is definitely hard to make and maintain really close, intense friendships because everyone is just so busy. People only really want to hang out at night. Like, it's rare to make friends that you spend the day with. And I find personally that either I have friends that I see purely at parties or like to get drinks with every once in a while, or I have like really aggressive codependent friendships where we spend all of our time together because we don't know how to function with the constant, daunting, lonely feeling that New York leaves you with. Now, here's one of the main reasons why I feel like I need a break from New York. And it's that New York is like a constant death trap. Like, one of the most common tags, you know, people graffiti tagging everything, says cheat death NYC. And that's how you feel every day. Like, I like to bike or I take the subway. Every time I leave my apartment, I feel like I'm cheating death. Someone is trying to kill me at all angles. It's constant cortisol pumping through your brain that leaves you in fight or flight. When I was working in the Lower East Side, I would find myself being like, okay, am I more scared of being followed and possibly attacked by a crazy person, or am I more scared of being hit by a car on a bike? Which one would I rather deal with right now? And every day, every night you come home, you lock your door, you run into your bed, you think, wow, I'm alive. I just want to stroll down a nice, friendly neighborhood street and not feel like it's gonna be like, and then it's like, not going out is not an option, as you feel constant FOMO. You get into the night, you decide to stay in and watch a movie. You'll have 5 friends calling you being like, I had the craziest night of my entire life last night. I actually fell in love and had a threesome, met the creative director of Vogue. Now I'm gonna be a model. Entire life has changed because of a night that you missed out on, dude. Final note, because I don't want to go off blah 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 blah. Last thing I'll say about New York is that it feeds into addictive personalities. Everyone in New York has a vice. Everyone I meet who's like, oh, I'm actually sober, I don't drink. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. They chain smoke every 2 seconds. Let's mention good ski slope, the baby aspirin, everyone's favorite party drug, cookie. And I've dabbled, but I've had to put a mental block where I literally have to tell myself I'm not allowed to do coke because every single time I go out, someone tries to get me to do coke. I don't want to have schizophrenia by the time I'm 29. I just don't. Like, it's fun. Some of my best nights ever is when I've done. But then it's sad because you'll literally see people take it so casually and be like, oh, it's not a big deal, I'm just having fun. And then 2 years later, they came to New York to be a writer and now they just have the melted brain and cannot write anything. And I do think I've seen a lot of people who come to New York with big dreams and big aspirations, and then they just get sucked into, they're just having too much fun to actually get anything done. And that's a classic New York tale. All right, my charger died, I'm out of the tub. Here are my final thoughts. If you feel like you want to move to New York, I don't really think you got a choice. You kind of have to do it. Just to like see what it's like, you know? If you want to do it, you gotta do it. It's like going blonde, you know? You gotta try it at least once in your life. It's probably gonna suck for a while, just like moving to any place. And you could die. But you probably won't die, and you'll probably come out of it a much better person, just like I did. Okay, anyways, hope that was helpful to you guys. Give me a like if you like it. Let me know what your thoughts are on NYC. All right, bye. See ya.